Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Monday. It is September the 22nd, so we'll go ahead. We'll start at the top of the board. That is normally how these things work. David Pastrnak is on the ice with the Boston Bruins. He's been dealing with tendonitis in his knee, so you bring him along slowly, obviously, and don't make a drinking game out of it during the preseason, but you're going to hear a lot of, we just want to make sure this player is ready for the start of the regular season. We just want to make sure this player is good to go for opening night, and that's the key thing. And then once you reach March, then injuries become, we want to make sure this guy's ready for the first game of the playoffs, right? So at any rate, Pastrnak is on the ice now, tendonitis in his knee. Odds are it's probably going to just be with him for a bit. We shall see. Carolina, Rod Brindamore saying that both Slavin and Chatfield likely to be held out of the preseason from here. So for people who complain about the preseason being shorter, and I've seen a couple, I'm not saying there's a lot, a couple, this is part of the reason why the NHL, I think, is fine with the preseason being shorter and just being weak. Because there are some teams that just hold players out. They're like, nope, we want to, hold them out until their regular season games. And I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't make sense, but then it does make you wonder, does the preseason really matter to the veteran players? And the reality is the preseason is more important for your fringe players, your AHL players, and junior players who are looking to get noticed. So we've definitely seen some players getting signed to entry-level contracts over the last few days, who may very well have become contracted players with their teams because of how well they played in rookie showcases and how they looked in training camp. So it's important for them, but for veterans, like in this case, Slavin and Chatfield, it's not that important. Jared McCann, lower body injury for him. He's seen as day-to-day, so just keep an eye on that as we get closer to the regular season. Max Domi, also lower body injury for him. He practiced yesterday. It's the first time that he had practiced for the Toronto Maple Leafs since camp opened. It's much similar with Domi. It's seen that he should be good to go for opening night. Of course, yesterday the Toronto Maple Leafs beating Ottawa and all this. And I have to say that having reviewed a couple of games, it was nice to be back and doing that again. I'm looking forward to reviewing a game or two tonight as well. However, these games don't matter. So it's weird to me. So it's just weird to me how there's all these discussions about players already, and we just started training camp / preseason. Burakovsky, he's dealing with a lower body injury as well for Chicago now. Didn't practice yesterday. It's not seen as a serious injury. So same thing. Make sure they're ready for opening night of the regular season, and don't worry too much about the injuries that they're dealing with at this point, unless it's something that's going to cause them to miss a regular season game or two. Now, interesting news out of Arizona, and I know there are people who, the NHL can't go back to Arizona. I'm going to say this, Arizona themselves have been pretty vocal about wanting the NHL back. At the very least, some people that have some money, and now Shane Doan's wife, Andrea, is going to chair an advisory committee hoping to bring the NHL back to Arizona. So this is all part of the process. Shane is working for the Leafs. So if you're wondering why Shane Doan isn't heading this up, this seems to be the case of Shane's working for Toronto. It does have that conflict of interest kind of feel, although I don't think it's a big deal because there is no team in Arizona at this point in time. But the plan is to try to bring a team to Arizona / Phoenix. I think Phoenix is the end goal here. And it's seen, too, that the Doan family has a good relationship with people in the Valley. I think people understand why the Arizona Coyotes didn't work. The reality is that, yes, they struggled with cash flow and with attendance at points, but really they just didn't have good ownership and they didn't have a real plan. This was a week-to-week, month-to-month kind of thing for a franchise where it just felt like there was no plan. So, well, we'll be in Glendale for a bit, and then they just stay there until Glendale kicked them out. And the Mullet, they were there for a couple years, and there was a plan, and then that plan didn't work out because ownership of the Coyotes at the time, not popular with people. People didn't trust them. And so that's something that they're going to have to overcome. They're going to have somebody with a lot of money, but they're also going to have a good relationship with local government and with municipalities and with just people in the community as well. Remember, the community vote doomed the Coyotes last time out. So Doing this the right way is really, really important, and I think those that are going to be on this advisory committee are aware of that. So don't be surprised if at different points during this season I am talking about Arizona and their efforts as well. It may very well, too, be that because we talk about the NHL and how Houston and Atlanta are probably coming in, Arizona may realize that if Houston and, let's just say Houston and Atlanta were named tomorrow. Let's just say Bettman goes, that's it. Houston and Atlanta. Then the odds of getting a team back in Arizona, of getting the Coyotes back, just drops way off. Because then you'd be up to 35 teams, and I'm not saying it's impossible. I've done videos on going to 36 teams, but it does push the timeline back. So if they can have an advisory committee, get something put together, get into this whole bidding process, maybe they can edge out Houston, although I think we can all agree seeing a team in Houston might be kind of fun as well. So the reason I'm wearing the jersey is being retired. This season's the last one. The expectation is that there's going to be a new alternate jersey, although it may not be next season that we see the new alternate jersey. So yeah, the jersey is going to go by the wayside. There will be those who say good. There will be those who will miss it. But either way, this is going to be the last year that they're going to wear this. I think it's 11 times they're going to wear it, and then it is officially retired as a third. So, top prospect for the New York Islanders, Aitchison. He took a huge hit from Noah Juulsen yesterday, and there's a lot of discussion about whether or not he should keep his head up at center ice. Was it a clean hit? Was it a dirty hit? Just from the replays I saw, I didn't think it was a vicious or dirty hit. I thought it was a good open ice hit from Noah Juulsen. Juulsen can throw hits. So the other thing I saw too was that, Aitchison has been guilty of some rather questionable hits himself during his junior career. Now he's playing against National Hockey League players, and that this might teach him to keep his head up. It's not a phrase that I use a lot. I don't very often say a player needs to keep his head up, but where he was at center ice, that has often been referred to as the trolley tracks. And you can get absolutely smoked if you're skating through that part of the ice. It is not as common now, and certainly because it's a preseason game, players may not be as ready for that kind of contact, but it is still a hockey game. You have to be ready for that kind of contact. So there hasn't been anything from Department of Player Safety at this point in time anyways, so I don't have to get the wheel out. I know that the wheel's probably going to come out during the preseason. I'm not sure when, but the wheel's probably going to come out. But Aitchison's supposed to be okay as well. He's seen as just day to day. So last night's game, or yesterday afternoon's game between Winnipeg and Minnesota, I guess it was afternoon for me, to be evening for those in Winnipeg. But the concussion spotter removed Lambert from Sunday's game against the Wild. He got sent headfirst into the goalpost of the Wild's net. There was a penalty called on the play. Again, nothing from Department of Player Safety or anything. So it doesn't sound like Lambert's that bad off. Like, it doesn't sound like Lambert's going to be out for a long time. But I haven't seen an update yet. Usually if it's serious, usually there's an update. At least it feels like there's an update a little quicker. But we'll see if there's an update on Lambert. If there is, it'll go on a board and we can discuss it in another news video. But there are definitely scary incidents, even though it is just preseason. Gabriel Landeskog, as if Colorado fans needed another reason to love the guy. Their team captain dropped the gloves yesterday with Utah's Sam Lipkin after he elbowed Makar. Makar would get pulled out of the game. Coach Bednar, though, after the game, said that Makar is expected to be fine. So if you saw that play and felt like, you're concerned about Makar, I am sure everybody on the Avs was, but it's nice to see Landeskog drop the gloves. The one thing I'd say is, it's nice to see him drop the gloves. It's not related to the injury that kept him out for years, but I don't know if the Colorado Avalanche want to see Landeskog in a fight. I don't know if they want to see him in a fight. There are other guys on the Avs who can drop the gloves, but again, it does endear him to the fans, endears him to his teammates, and shows why he's team captain. So, at any rate, at least Landeskog's okay, and he stood up for his teammates. So, I'm sure Cale Makar will buy him dinner. So this took place as well, and I wanted to talk about this because this is something that I've noticed more and more and more. I have started blocking pages on Facebook, on Instagram as well. There are pages on various social medias. There are pages that people send me. They go, hey, did you see this? And it's clickbait. It's clickbait. So basically the way this works is they just make BS up. They pass it along to all you fine people on the internet. And while most of us will see that it's clickbait and it's not accurate, it's not true, there is a portion of the population, some of them might be older than me. I'm thinking because it's Facebook, there's going to be a portion that's older than me, who believe all this. And so there are 18 pages that the Canadian press took to Meta and said, hey, so we looked at these 18 pages. They're clearly clickbait. They're using AI images of NHL players. This is clearly all complete garbage. I know on X, there are ads that, and I just block them, that it's, you're not going to believe this person got arrested. Mary Berg, who's like just a TV host, she does baking and cooking and just very innocuous, very Snow White sort of personality. For lack of a better terminology, she's just very sweet lady, Mary Berg. And so X, there were ads I kept seeing of, oh, she's been arrested, and clearly they're AI, they're not real images, or they're CGI and whatever. But I'm glad that we're finally starting to see something happen. So 18 pages were taken to Meta/Facebook. And Meta pulled the pages. 9 of them apparently were traced back to Vietnam and ownership. The other 9, the ownership could not be traced back. So they're all foreign-owned pages as well. So they're not out of Canada. They're not out of the United States either. And they're just there to, a lot of it's rage bait. So it's just, can you believe this? And you click, I'm so angry, I can't believe this. Well, you shouldn't, because it's not true. This is definitely an issue. This is going on a lot of places, because then these pages will then get viewed by people who might have a YouTube channel, and they'll be like, oh, look at this. Can you believe this? No, it's not happening. So this is part of the reason why I'm very careful about what I report and what I discuss on the channel, because I know there's a lot of clickbait out there. And clickbait, to me, and I've talked about this before, clickbait is either it's fake, so it's not actually happening, or you click on an article because you see a headline, and then when you actually get into the article, it's something completely different. It's not what they're saying it was, and they're misconstruing something somebody said in passing. There are times, too, where an article might be from like 8 years ago, and they try to pass it off like it's new. So I'm glad these Facebook pages got pulled, but it is just the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot of pages on Facebook that have a lot of followers that just make crap up, and they're just out there just to rage bait. And there are definitely people that buy it. So it does make it more difficult for others in that space. And hopefully this starts to get cleaned up a little bit, but I don't know that Meta cares. I don't know that they necessarily do. If these 18 pages weren't brought to their attention, I don't think anything would have happened. I think they'd still be running. So, yeah. Let me know your thoughts on that, because it is definitely having an effect on things on the internet, and it's frustrating. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts. Yesterday, the hockey world mourned the passing of Bernie Parent. So that's Bernie Parent, Eddie Giacomin, Ken Dryden, all within a few weeks of one another. Bernie Parent was one of the all-time greats. I did a video on him last year. And honestly, he was a huge part of the reason why the Flyers won back-to-back Stanley Cups in the 70s. And he is amongst the players that I most wish that I had watched play. I was too young when his career ended to have watched him play. It is one of those few times in my life where I think, I wish I'd been a little bit older. I wish I'd seen Bobby Orr play as well. I didn't see Bobby Orr play either. So, at any rate, my condolences, my thoughts to family members, to friends of Bernie Parent, and hopefully this ends the loss of great goaltenders. I don't want to lose any more. That's it. It is a lot in a very short period of time for the hockey world. At any rate, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for watching. I assure you, I'm not AI. I'm not a bot. There's no way. And I do my best to make sure that what I report on the board here is as accurate as possible. So thank you guys so much for watching, for your support, and I will talk to you again soon.